Guru and His Grace, according to Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharishi, devotee asked, what is Guru Kripa? How does it lead to self realization? Maharishi said, Guru is the self. Sometimes a man becomes dissatisfied with his life and not content with what he has. He seeks the satisfaction of his desires through prayer to God, etc. His mind is gradually purified until he longs to know God, more to obtain His grace than to satisfy his worldly desires. Then God's grace begins to manifest. God takes the form of a guru and appears to the devotee, teaches him the truth, and moreover purifies his mind by association. The devotee's mind gains strength and is then able to turn inward. By meditation, it is further purified and it remains still without the least ripple. That calm expanse is the self. The Guru is both external and internal. From the exterior, he gives a push to the mind to turn inward. From the interior, he pulls the mind toward the self and helps in the quieting the mind. That is Guru Kripa. There is no difference between God, Guru, and the self. Devotee asked, in the Theosophical Society, they meditate in order to seek masters to guide them. Maharishi said, the master is within. Meditation is meant to remove the ignorant idea that he is only outside. If he is a stranger whom you await, he is bound to disappear also. Where is the use for a transient being like that? But as long as you think you are separate or that you are the body, so long is the master without also necessary, and he will disappear and he will appear as if with the body. When the wrong identification of oneself with the body ceases, the master will be found as none other than the self. Devotee asked, will the Guru help us to know the self through initiation and so forth? Maharishi said, does the Guru hold you by the hand and whisper in your ear? You may imagine him to be what you are yourself. Because you think you are with a body, you think he has also a body to do something tangible to you. His work lies within, in the spiritual realm. Devotee asked, how is the Guru found? Maharishi said, God, who is immanent in His grace, takes pity on the loving devotee and manifests Himself according to the devotee's development. The devotee thinks that he is a man and expects a relationship as between two physical bodies. But the Guru, who is God or the Self incarnate, works from within, helps the man to see the error of his ways, and guides him in the right path until he realizes the Self within. Devotee asked, what should the devotee do then? Maharishi said, he has only to live up to the words of the Master and work within. The Master is both within and without, so he creates conditions to drive you inward and at the same time prepares the interior to drag you to the center. Thus, he gives a push from without and exerts a pull from within so that you may be fixed at the center. You think that the world can be conquered by your own effort. When you are frustrated externally and are driven inward, you feel, oh, there is a power higher than man. The ego is like a very powerful elephant which cannot be brought under control be any less powerful than a lion, which in this trance is no other than the Guru, whose very look makes the elephant like ego tremble and die. You will know in due course that your glory lies where you cease to exist. In order to gain that state, you should surrender yourself. Then the Master sees that you are in a fit state to receive guidance and he guides you. Devotee asked, how can the silence of the Guru, who gives no initiation nor does any other tangible act, be more powerful than his words? How is such silence better than the study of scriptures? Maharishi said, silence is the most potent form of work, however vast and empathetic the scriptures may be. They fail in their effect. The Guru is quiet and grace prevails in all. This silence is more vast and more empathetic than all the scriptures put together. Devotee said, but can the devotee obtain happiness? Maharishi said, the devotee surrenders himself to the Master, and it means that there is no vestige of individuality retained by him. If the surrender is complete, all sense of self is lost, and then there can be no misery or sorrow. The eternal being is nothing but happiness that comes as a revelation. Devotee asked, how can I obtain grace? Maharishi said, grace is the self. This also is not to be acquired. You only need to know that it exists. The sun is brightness only. It doesn't see darkness. Yet you speak of darkness fleeing on the sun's approach. So also the devotee's ignorance, like the phantom of darkness, vanishes at the look of the Guru. You are surrounded by sunlight, yet if you would see the sun, you must turn in its direction and look at it. So also grace is found by the proper approach you make, though it is here and now. Devotee asked, cannot grace hasten ripeness in the seeker? Maharishi said, leave it all to the Master, surrender to him without reserve. One of two things must be done, either surrender yourself because you realize your inability and need a higher power to help you, or investigate the cause of misery, go into the source, and so merge in the self. Either way, you will be free from misery. God or Guru never forsakes the devotee who has surrendered himself. Devotee asked, what is the significance of prostration to the Guru or God? Maharishi said, prostration signifies the subsidence of the ego, and it means merging into the source. God or Guru cannot be deceived by outward genuflections, bowing, and prostrations. He sees whether the ego is there or not. Devotee asked, will not Bhagwan give me some prasad from his leaf as a mark of his grace? Maharishi said, eat without thinking of the ego, then what you eat becomes Bhagwan's prasad. Devotee said, is not the literate man better qualified for enlightenment in the sense that he stands in no need of Guru Kripa? Maharishi said, even a learned man must bow before the illiterate sage. Illiteracy is ignorance and education is learned ignorance. Both are ignorant of the true aim. The sage is ignorant in a different line. He is ignorant because there is no other for him. Devotee asked, is it not to obtain the Guru's grace that presents are offered to him? So the visitors offer presents to Bhagwan. Maharishi said, why do they bring presents? Do I want them? Even if I refuse, they thrust the presents on me. What for? Is it not like giving a bait to catch the fish? Is the angler anxious to feed them? No, he is anxious to feed on the fish. Devotee asked, is the theosophical idea of giving successive initiations before attaining moksha true? Maharishi said, those who attain moksha in one life must have passed through all the initiations in their former lives. Devotee asked, Theosophy says that jnanis after death have a choose 4 or 5 lines of work, not necessarily in the world. What is Bhagwan's opinion? Maharishi said, some may take up work, but not all. Devotee asked, are you conscious of a brotherhood of invisible rishis? Maharishi said, if invisible, how can you see them? Devotee asked, in consciousness? Maharishi said, there is nothing external in consciousness. Devotee asked, can I realize them? Maharishi said, if you realize your own reality, then that of the rishis and masters will become clear to you. There is only one master, and that is the self. Devotee is reincarnation true? Maharishi said, reincarnation exists only so long as there is ignorance. There is really no reincarnation at all, either now or before, nor will there be any hereafter. This is the truth. Devotee asked, can a yogi know his past lives? Maharishi said, do you know the present life that you wish to know the past? Find the present, then the rest will follow. Even with your present limited knowledge, you suffer so much. Why should you burden yourself with more knowledge? Is it to suffer more? Devotee asked, does Bhagwan use occult powers to make others realize the self, or is the mere fact of Bhagwan's realization enough for that? Maharishi said, the spiritual force of self realization is far more powerful than the use of all the occult powers. In as much as there is no ego in the sage, there are no others for him. What is the highest benefit that can be conferred on you? It is happiness, and happiness is born of peace. Peace can reign only when where there is no disturbance, and disturbance is due to thoughts that arise in the mind. When the mind itself is absent, there will be perfect peace. Unless a person has annihilated the mind, he cannot gain peace and be happy, and unless he himself is happy, he cannot bestow happiness on others. Since, however, there are no others, for the sage who has no mind, the mere fact of his self realization is itself enough to make the others happy. Hari Om Tat Sat.